Hey vlog, just a quick one today. So my daughter was off yesterday for Martin Luther King Day. So it was a 3-day weekend, which was nice, but I got sick. I wouldn't, it's not really sick. It's that I didn't sleep well Saturday night, and Sunday was kind of difficult because of that. So anyway, I didn't work yesterday. I just did a little bit. It's hard to work with my daughter around. But I'm back. And today is the first day of customer talks. So they're kind of interviews. They're kind of me helping them coach. It's like coaching session. I'm helping come up with a personalized learning plan. That's what I'm calling it. I did this last year and I got a whole bunch of signups for personalized learning plans. This year, I don't see the signups coming. A lot of people signed up for the plan, but they're mostly existing customers. So I'm going to have to push it a little more. Subscriptions are going down so far this year. So I really need to push for more subscriptions. It's one of the things I thought about last year. It must have been November. December was crazy, so I didn't have a lot of time to work on it. But if subscriptions are going down, I need to do something. I need to change. I need to push. I need to get something happening. But also one thing that's happening is I'm not producing as many videos right now. I'm not writing as much. So, that all goes together. If I'm not making new content and people have already watched all the content that they had, why would they stay around, right? So I'm trying to get back into the habit. One of the reasons why this is going to be a short one today, because I want to use this to kind of motivate myself to start recording. I've got a call at 11:30. I need to do a bit of research on the person I'm talking to. It's my only call today because the two other calls canceled. No, I have two calls. One of them canceled, but someone replaced. Okay, I see. So I have two calls, one at 11:30, one at 2:30. I just want to know the questions to ask them. And I want, when I did it last time, I kind of winged it. And it went fine. I helped people figure out their learning plans, but I want to have a very consistent set of questions. And if I can get as much information about them that will help me sell more as I can. So I want to find out stuff like where they heard of me, how they... Oh, I have a bunch of things written down. I got to go look at them. But that's what I'm doing right now before I jump into recording. I just need to get back into the swing of recording every day. I used to record every day, even if I had to stay up a little late, which worked. I do have to say my life circumstances were a little different then, so I'm just gonna have to figure it out with my current life circumstances. But recording earlier rather than later, so don't leave recording to the end of the day, seems to be a better thing. Just I know I have to do it, just get it over with at the beginning of the day. Not that I don't enjoy it, it's just things have to be right. They have to feel right, If I'm under a lot of stress for something, it's hard to just concentrate on sounding a certain way to make a good recording and getting my recording settings perfect and, all those little things. One of those things you have to deal with when you're making stuff for public consumption. But I have a bunch of notes sitting over here for lessons that I need to record. And so those will be good. They will get going. Oh, another thing I should do is, one reason why I'm off the bandwagon for recording every day is there's two things that can happen. One is I can run out of material, which sucks because then I need like another 2 hours to go and do some more notes for some other topic. So it's not just like 10-minute lesson takes about 20 minutes to record. It becomes different. But the other thing is that one thing I started with, which I didn't need so much as it became a habit. One thing I started with is a chart every day of the week. And as I would record, I would X off that box on the chart. And that really helps keep track of like how well you're doing. Gives you a tiny bit of, serotonin, whatever it is when you finally check it off. Yes, I did it. I can put that out of my mind. And especially when you're like 3 or 4 days into the streak, you really feel like you don't have to conquer the world today. You just have to get this one thing done. And that was a good day. So I think that one of the issues that I have with a lot of like self-help things is they say like, well, visualize your ideal day. That's not what you should do because you're never going to have an ideal day. It's impossible. What you should visualize is the minimal day. What is the minimal day that will make progress towards what I need to work on, right? And that forces you to prioritize the things that are important. And it forces you to be realistic about what you can get done on your worst day. Because you don't want one bad day to derail your streak, to derail your forward momentum, etc. So you want something tiny like record 10 minutes of video is a good day. If you record 10 minutes of video, you're doing great. Minimal. What is the minimum you need to feel right about yourself so that you can feel good and start the day tomorrow? For instance, with 10 minutes, you can always find 10 minutes. Even if you're swamped with email, even if you're dealing with a bunch of fires and support requests and all sorts of stuff, you can stop and say, okay, I'm going to record and then I'll come back to this. You can do that. Now, of course, you need prep, right? You need all your notes ready so that you can take only 10 minutes. So that means you kind of need to be ahead of where you're recording. So all those things are difficult. And I actually ran out of material. I was on such a good streak. I got done with all my lessons that I had prepared. And that's the other thing is I kind of forgot how to write notes because it had been weeks. And so it seemed like a daunting task. Like, where do I start? How long is this going to take? So I might need to make that a thing too, that I need to note at least 2 lessons or something like that every day. Yeah, that one's hard because 2 lessons sounds like a lot. And so if it sounds like a lot, it's probably too much. Noting 1 lesson though, if you're doing 2 lessons, if you're doing 1 lesson, you might as well do 2. I don't know. I have to figure that one out. But I need some kind of daily thing to get back into a rhythm with that. I'm not on my wagon of 2 hours of optimization every day. That's probably too much now that it comes to it. I need to do something about that. Again, probably needs to be more minimal. And then now it sounds like too many little things to do every day. the last thing I was working on was getting, I think I was doing this on Friday, getting Drip to, so I'm using Drip workflows. This is the last thing I'll talk about because I really have to go. I was using Drip workflows. I migrated to Drip a couple years ago, and then soon after that, when I was kind of still getting used to the system and getting set up, Drip workflows came out, and there was a lot of like excitement about it and a lot of push to start using them, and it looked like I could get some interesting stuff done with the workflows. So I started experimenting with them, trying different things for automating sign-ons and like the customer what would you call that, the life cycle. So like, okay, someone signs up and then they start getting a couple emails about what the service is, and then maybe they'll subscribe, and then they are subscribing for a few months, and then their credit card expires, so they start getting these emails. It's that kind of life cycle thing. And I found, like most systems like this, the problem is things get out of sync. So my server is like trying to do is syncing with, let's say, Stripe, right? So Stripe has a subscription, and like every month it's gonna get charged. That credit card is gonna get charged. The Stripe will notify my server. My server will then register that payment and say they're still active for another month. Great. So that will send a message to Drip saying, I just got a payment, they're good, right? And so then this is going into their workflow, and the workflow is kind of cycling them through this monthly cycle of, don't expire them yet, like they're still going. And so it's just like a total Rube Goldberg system. And especially since workflows are basically like a programming language, but it's not documented what things do. So a lot of it is experimentation. A lot of it is, with experiments you have failures. And so a lot of stuff is kind of messed up because it was a failed experiment. So people are like in weird states, and they have weird tags associated with them. Anyway, my over the weekend or on Friday, I was complaining about Drip, and this is what complaining is good for, right? You need to complain. I think that complaining is just a totally natural thing. You can do it to excess, but you're complaining to people and it becomes a discussion. And I started to realize, why am I using this crappy programming language called workflows in Drip when the system that I have is the system of record? Like my subscription or membership plugin in WordPress knows everybody who is current, is active, and it's accurate. Like if someone has if someone calls me with support, they email me, they're like, I can't access my account, what's going on? I look there and I see what the problem is. And so that's the system that is the correct one, that everything else needs to be in sync with. So why don't I just drive the things directly from my programming language in WordPress instead of trying to sync it with some other thing? So if things get out of whack, they won't get out of whack. It's simply going to say, this is what things should look like in Drip now, because it's way easier to calculate it from the data. You have all the data. You can just calculate what they should be seeing. So that's what I'm doing now. And I started working on that on Friday. It was so freeing. I deactivated all sorts of workflows, removed people from the workflows, and now things should be way better. Of course, it's not finished yet, but it's like pulling back so that you can go in a new direction, and it's gonna be much better. I can already tell. Like, the code is way simpler than the workflows ever were. I mean, I know why the workflows exist and everything, but I mean, this is like, it's really making me think that all this automation stuff is not really for my size of business, for where I'm at right now. I mean, especially with my audience, like, programmers know that these emails are totally generated by a computer, and out of sync with the actual data. And so when they get one, they're like, I don't really feel like this is for me, so I don't like all that automation stuff anyway. But at least now they're going to be more accurate. The ones I do send, because I'm not sending nearly as many as I was. There's stuff like onboarding. Someone signs up. You want to send them stuff about, like, here are the features that you might not have known about. A few weeks later, you want to ask them how they're doing. Those kinds of things, very simple things, can be just done from code. Anyway, that's gone on a long time. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to start answering questions you have. This is a cool thing I'm doing. I'm really glad that I started this vlog, and I'm glad you're listening.